Hi, my name is Valencia, and I want to thank you for tuning in today. I'm going to talk to you about something that's very close and dear to my heart. It's about peace, peace that passeth all understanding. It's about my mother when my mom passed away and the peace that God blessed me with to deal with her death. My mom died November the 3rd, 2022 at 11:03 p.m. Before that time, my mother was very sick. She had chronic high blood pressure. She didn't take her medicine on time or medicine right. Sometimes she missed days. Her pressure would be over 200 and something. She had it very bad. Her high blood pressure caused her kidneys to go bad, which led her to get on dialysis. I've always told my mom, you gotta eat better. You gotta take care of yourself. But to me, that was like talking to a wall. So right before my mother went down, I couldn't understand it. All of a sudden, I was watching this strong woman that I have saw all my life just deteriorate right in front of me. It was very hard for me to accept. It was hard for me to deal with. Everybody knew, and everybody that knew my mom knew that I couldn't handle my mom's death. My mama dying to me was like, oh no, that can never happen. And I had a hard time with it myself, with death myself. So November the 3rd, 2022, at after 11:08, because the hospital called me at 11:08 and I didn't have my phone at the time and I missed the call. My oldest son had called my husband and told him he needed to speak to me. And at that particular time when I got on the phone, I was already out the bed. I don't even know what I was doing because I had just went to bed. Before that happened, earlier that day, when I got off work, me and the kids got out of school. I have now they're 16, 13, and 11. But back then they were 10, 12, and 15. Plus I have an older son. So earlier that day, we had went to the hospital to see my mom. And as I was looking at my mom, she didn't look good to me. You know, the day before, November the 2nd, she was, she had her eyes open. She was open. Her eyes was open and she was looking at me and stuff. But this particular day and this particular time, she was laying down. And when she was laying down, her head was like back like this and her eyes was closed and she was asleep. And she was stiff. But she was still breathing and everything like that. I tried to wake her up, but she wouldn't wake up. And she just looked strange to me. So that night, around 10-ish, I was feeling very heavy in my chest. I didn't know what it was. It was really heavy. But I was sleepy. And I had told the Lord, I said, God, I don't know what's going on with me. Am I getting ready to have a heart attack in my sleep? Because I really didn't know what was going on, what was happening to me at the time. And I said, God, I don't know what this is, but whatever it is, I need you to help me. I need you to fix this thing because I can't do it. I got to go to sleep. I'm sleeping. So as I fell off to sleep, that was around 10-ish. Everything that was happening at, my mom, because she died at 11:03. I don't know how I got the phone call, but I know my phone ringer was off, or it probably wasn't in my room. And that's probably when I'm thinking about it, that's probably why I was bent over at the time that my oldest son called my husband and he said Derek on the phone and he gave me the phone. And at the time I was bent over, I don't know if I was looking for my phone or not. And when I received the phone, he said, Mom, they said her heart stopped. No, I'm sorry. They said she stopped breathing. I said, is she dead? And he said, yes. And at that time, I was still down because the way I was on the, like answering the phone, I was like bent over. And then I had like a tremble in my hand. Not like a real tremble, but just a slight tremble in my hand. And as I stood up, it was like something just came over me. Like if you ever seen the Transformer movies where, they be driving, the little cars be driving and all of a sudden they just transform into a robot. Well, that's how I felt. I felt like I had them transformed into something else and it wasn't me. So I told him, I said, I'm on my way. When I got in the car, when I tell you the car was silent, there was no tears, there was no crying, there was no nothing, no music, nothing was playing. It was just silent in the car. And as I was driving and getting closer to the hospital, I said, God, I need to call my husband. I need to call Ted. I need him to wake up Chance. That's my 15-year-old. He's 16 now. I said, I need him to wake him up and tell him, that mom had passed, because I don't want him to hear it on social media, which my oldest son, he loves Facebook. I mean, he goes live all the time, and he's way much older than my children. There's a 20-year gap between my oldest son and my 16-year-old son. That's a whole different story, a whole nother video at a whole nother time. So I told my husband, I said, I need you to wake up Chance. I need you to let him know that mom passed. So whatever happened at the house, I wasn't here. I was headed to the hospital. The car went back silent. And at that time, I was like getting closer to the hospital. And I said, God, I'm not going to be able to go in there with my mama. And I left it at that. When I got to the hospital, Baptist Hospital in Jacksonville, Florida, in the one downtown, Baptist downtown, I drove in. I went straight to the 4th. She was on the 4th floor at this time. My mom had just got out of the hospital where she had spent 121 days in the hospital. So my mother was really down. I refused to let them put her in hospice. I refused to let them put her in any type of facility. My mother had been in her house where she had for years, and that's where she always wanted to be, and that's where I wanted her to be. She wanted to be there. That's where I wanted her to be as well. So when I get to the hospital, I'm walking, headed to the 4th floor. When I get there, all of a sudden, joy just came over me. When I walked into the door, I was smiling. I was like, wow, who is this girl? Who is this woman? And I started smiling and everything. And as I was smiling, I talked to the nurse. I said, hi, I'm Valencia. I'm Amanda Hicks' daughter. And they said, oh, she's in the room. When I got in the room, my oldest son was in there. And you could see the water on the floor where he had been crying and everything. And he stayed for a minute with me because he had already been there. He was waiting for me to get there. And when I got in there, I mean, you have to know me to know how I am, how emotional I am. And at this point, I was actually in the room with my mom while she had transitioned on to glory. So my son said, well, I'm getting ready to go. I said, okay, that's fine. You go ahead and go. So I sit down. My son left. And at this time, my mom's body is just laying over there on the bed. And I'm calling all the people that I know, and I'm texting all the people that I know, and I'm telling them my mom had died. And at the time, my brother, which it was 6 of us, but it's only 3 of us living to this day. I'm the oldest. Then I have another one that's like 3 to 4 years younger than me. Then I have another one that's 16 years younger than me. That's a whole different story. So the one that's 4 to 3 years younger than me, he went to Atlanta. He retired from the military and everything. He went to Atlanta to pursue his dream of becoming a mortician. So as I'm talking to him on the phone, he's telling me the procedures and things that they're getting ready to do. He wanted to keep me up, informed on what was going on. And he was like, okay, this is what they're going to do. Because he was talking to me. At this time, he's trying to explain to me, the procedures and everything like that so I could be ready for them. So he was like, okay, Valencia, at the time, you're going to have to give them the funeral home number. They're going to call the funeral home. The funeral home is going to come get her, come get mama. He said, but you don't want to be in there when they come get her. And I said, okay, I respect that. He told me, he said, now, what they're going to do is, they have to clean up the room for the next body. That's what he told me. Not that he was being cold-blooded or cold-hearted, but right now he's speaking to me on the mortuary side. You understand what I'm saying? And then, like I said, everybody know how emotional I am. But at this time, God had blessed me with that peace, that supernatural peace that only he can give you. And he had already bestowed upon me the joy, unspeakable joy. So he said, they're going to want to, get the room ready for the next person. I said, okay. So it was about when I went out there and I gave the nurses the information in the funeral home that had mama and stuff like that. That was, coming to get her and stuff. And they told me that when I went back out there, because it was like an hour later, but they said, oh, they'll be here in 30 minutes. And I said, okay. So like I said, I remember my brother telling me, you don't want to be there when they come and get her out of there, when they remove mama's body. I said, okay. So as I was leaving, I saw the nurse that was taking care of my mom, hugged and everything. And when I tell you the joy that I had on me, before I left the hospital, I looked at my mama and I said, I am so proud of you. I love you. When I walked out the hospital, got in the car, when I tell you the atmosphere in the car had changed, it was just me and God. The music was playing. Oh my God. I laughed and I said, God, look at you. Because I had refused to put my mother in a facility or turn her over to hospice. So let's go back way before all this came up. I had been seeking peace for years because I knew that I couldn't handle my mama passing away. I knew this. She knew this. And like I said, everybody that know her and know me knew that I wouldn't be able to do it. So a friend of mine's baby passed away and I went to the funeral. This was years ago. And to see a baby coughing, that thing just, when I say it tore me up, it tore me up. I couldn't handle it. There was these two older ladies sitting behind me. They were old enough to be my grandmothers at the time. And they were sitting behind me. And one of the ladies said, they don't know Jesus. And the other lady said, yes, because if they did, they wouldn't be acting the way they acting. And I was like blown away. Like, really? So after the funeral, I came home and I said, God, I don't understand. I said, these two ladies sitting behind me saying what they saying, but how could you not feel a certain way when you see your baby, your infant, laying in a coffin, ain't even been 2 months yet. You done carried this baby 40 weeks. Something you looking forward to growing up and nurturing them and taking care of them. And then all of a sudden they're gone. You can't handle that. How can they talk and speak the way that they are speaking? I don't understand it. I said, God, whatever peace they have, I want that peace. I want that, what they're talking about. Because right now, I don't have it. I don't even understand it. I don't even know it. I want what they're talking about. Okay, so let's come back to the present part. So before my mama went down, she was at my house and she was sitting on my sofa. And she said, Valencia. I said, ma'am. She said, when I die, you're going to go crazy. And I was in the kitchen area. And I swung back, because I have a sliding door, and I swung that curtain back. And I said, God, do you hear her? Do you hear what she's saying? She said, when she died, I'm going to go crazy. I said, God, I need that supernatural peace that only you can give, and I need it now. That's how I was talking to him. I was angry. I couldn't handle. She was telling me the truth. And it's hard for us to take the truth. It's hard for us to accept the truth. I was angry. I was upset. So after then, we're going back before she passed. All the whole time she would tell me, oh, when I die, you're not going to be able to go in my house. You're not going to be able to do this. You're not going to be able to do that. She knew it. I knew it. And everybody else knew it. And it was hard for me. So when God gave me that peace and that joy at 11, whatever time it was at 11 o'clock after I got the call that she had done passed, I was thankful for that. Now listen to what I'm trying to tell you. It was 6 kids my mother had. 3 of them gone, tragic deaths. I had to go through all that. I knew about all that. The night that she died, before I got the call, I was already feeling that heaviness in my chest that I didn't even know what it was. But I gave it to God and said, I can't handle this. I need you to take care of whatever this is that's bothering me. Because I thought I was going to have a heart attack in my sleep. But I knew that I was sleeping. I had to go to sleep. I didn't know what the problem was, but whatever it was, I needed God to take care of it for me. Now, let's go back to June, July, before she passed, 2022. The doctors had called me, and they said, Miss Revere, I need to talk to you about your mama. I said, okay. She said, your mom is very weak, and I feel that her heart is going to stop before I get back in these 7 days. They needed us to come out there and do not resuscitate. Because they were trying to explain to us that if they resuscitated her in the fragile state that she was in, that they will break bones and they would do this and it will be more damage to her and she may not survive the resuscitation. So in order for us to make this right and she won't have to go through that, they needed us to come sign some paperwork. I'm telling y'all, I'm having a hard time with all this, with everything. I'm like, God, so I'm going in prayer. I said, God, I don't know what to do. And at that time, when she got real down and it wasn't looking good, I went to God. I said, okay, God, I'm going to delight myself in you because I know that you'll give me the desires of my heart. And at the time, my desire was for my mama to get well. So I started praying, fasting, worshiping, praising God the whole time. From the time she was down to the time she closed her eyes. She was down. She started getting down in January, but really, truly getting down in July. But at this time, before even that time, I still was praying, fasting, worshiping, praising God, seeking God like never before. Because I needed him to move on my behalf. I needed him to give me the desire of my heart and to allow my mama to get well. So all this time, this is what I'm doing. But at the time, I'm looking at reality too. So you telling me that my mama heart is gonna stop in these 7 days. So then my brother comes and I'm telling the doctors I'm not ready to bury my mama right now. This is not what I want to do. Doctors calling me. I'm yelling at them. The guy said, well, your mama is weak. Another doctor called, your mama is weak. We got to do this procedure. I said, let me tell you something. And I'm screaming and I'm banging on the walls and stuff. I'm not ready to bury her. You need to do everything you need to do. This is what I'm telling them. And they can hear them. My voice. Okay, Miss Revere, we're going to do everything you say do. Every time they had to do a procedure on my mama, they had to call me. And when they called me, that hurt me more than anything because I was crying. I was emotional. I didn't know what to do. I was at work. And let me tell you something. It is good to have someone at your job that believe like you. It is good to have somebody at your job that when you down and you out, y'all can go in a room while you at your worst and they can seek God on your behalf. You understand what I'm saying? When they can seek God for you when you down and you out and you don't know what to do. But you got that coworker and she walking around you and she praying and she worshiping. Oh God, I got chills all over me. And she doing what she can do for you when you at your worst. I thank God for Miss Thomas. Thank God for it. So this was going on with me the whole time. Because I felt like if I allowed these doctors to do these procedures and my mama died, it was my fault. I killed my mama. That's how I felt. That's what I was going through, me being the oldest. They calling me for the procedures. I'm telling them, yeah, but in the midst of everything, I'm still going through everything. But I'm still fasting. I'm still praying. I'm still seeking God. I'm still doing everything I need to do as a human. Because this is too much for me to bear. Too much for me to bear. I don't know if I'm going or I'm coming. But what I do know is I'm still praying. I'm still seeking God. I'm still worshiping. I'm still reading my word. I'm doing this. I've been doing this from January of 2022 to November of 2022 daily, every day. Okay. So that was then. So let's go, come on by after mom passed and everything. The day that she passed, like I said, it was 11:03. I come home at 2 o'clock in the morning. It could have been 1:30, 1:45, 2 o'clock. My 15-year-old, which he is 16 now, he's in there talking to his cousins and they talking about everything. They still on the phone. 2 o'clock in the morning. The joy over me, just the joy, like, oh my God. I'm out of this. I'm like, wow, this is like, oh God, I love this. Now mind y'all, I don't have no peace nowhere else in my life now. Everything else is crazy. But when it came to my mama, I had that peace. So I'm laying down, they trying to ask me all these questions, but I'm so sleepy. Now, when they called us down in July, when they called us and told my mama how it's going to stop, we went and started her funeral. Started preparing her funeral. I didn't, because I wasn't trying to hear it. So my brothers had to come down and take care of that. Because my mama always say, oh, when I die, Shannon going to be able to take care of this. Shannon going to be able to take care of that. And all this and that. That was okay with me. She knew me. I knew me. So all the funeral arrangements was already made. The grave, we already picked out the graveyard. The grave site. Where they going to put her body at. The graveyard was already paid. Her casket was already picked out. All that was done in July. So the night that she died, that morning coming in, I was like, okay, I'm getting ready to go to work. Now, mind you, that night, because I work at the school, mind you, that night, I had already emailed my principal and the two assistant principals, thanking them for being there for me the time that I was going down this road with my mom and stuff like that. Thanking them for everything that they have done for me. And I told them she passed. They wasn't expecting me to come to work, but it was no need for me to stay home because of the unspeakable joy that I had and the peace that passeth all understanding that I have. And then with the funeral being taken care of, it wasn't nothing I can do. And I told my brothers, because they was like, well, we on our way. I said, for what? Everything already done. Y'all stay where y'all at. And then I see y'all when it's time for the funeral. And that's what I meant. And they did exactly what I told them to do. They stayed home. They stayed in Atlanta, the both of them and their families. And then they came in that Wednesday, that Thursday. They could have came in that Friday. I can't remember because the funeral was that Saturday. So everything was done. God is just so good. I don't understand why people don't believe in him. That's a whole nother video, a whole nother time, a whole nother hour. So people looking at me like, wow. But I'm trying to explain to them that it's the peace and the joy that God gave me, that unspeakable joy and that peace that only God can give you. But then people started trying to make excuses for my peace. That's what upset me. Oh, you gonna mourn. Oh, you gonna cry. Oh, it gonna hit you one day. Baby, let me tell you something. I can't have his peace and then doing other things on the other side. I got to let God be God. If he gave me that gift of peace and joy, I have to accept it. It's a must to accept it. I'm like, I don't understand why people, but that's just how people are. You know, people want to explain to me and try to understand. And that was another reason why I wanted to do the video, because everybody was trying to explain to me why I'm going through what I'm going through and when I'm going to break down. It's been a year and several days, and I still holding on to his word and his promise and his peace and his joy. I thought it'd be hard for me to see pictures of my mama. I thought it'd be hard for me, but it's not. Every Sunday that we go to church, we leave the church, we go straight to the graveyard. From the graveyard, I go straight to her house. I go straight in her room, and I open up the door. I say, hey, mama. I lay right in her bed for a minute or two, not even over 5 minutes. I get up, I walk out the door, and I head on back home. I've been doing that since she's been gone. I had dreams of her. Let's talk about that. I had a dream, and the first dream I had right after she passed, I went to her house. She was sitting on the sofa, and she was just sitting there. She wasn't talking. And I went at her feet, and I just boo-hoo cried like a baby in the dream, and then she disappeared. Then come to find out, my baby brother had the same kind of dream. He would lay in his bed. When he turned around, she was there. Then all of a sudden, she disappeared. So then a little bit later, I had another dream of her. And when she came in the dream, now I knew she was gone. She even knew she was gone because she said, I'm back. Let me call all my friends and let them know I'm back. From that time of last year, I say in November, December, to right after her birthday, which was August the 30th, right before school let back in, or right after school let back in, I was dreaming of my mama every night. Every single night I closed my eyes, my mother was in my dream. Sometimes when things happened in that day, she was in that dream and we talked about it. I'm serious with y'all. Then she passed in my dreams. She passed away in my dreams. You know, dreams are crazy. So I'm saying to myself, oh my goodness, are we going to have another funeral? You know, a dream's crazy. I just buried her. What I'm going to do? I'm going to have to, now this is what I'm saying in the dream now. This ain't no reality now. Don't get me confused now. And in my dream, I'm saying, well, dog, am I going to have to unbury the body that was already and put in there? I mean, I was going through it in them dreams. But she died in my dream. Since then, I ain't dreamed of her since. And that was like, I have to really look at the text messages and stuff to find out when. But it was like, it could have been like a month ago. Yeah, it could have been like a month ago. I don't think it was 2 months ago. I just recently stopped dreaming of her. But I'm longing for them dreams to come back. Because they were something else, you know. That was a whole nother, that's a whole nother issue and stuff like that, and a whole nother thing. But when I tell you how gracious and great and, oh my God, the peace that he give you. Like I said, I don't have no peace nowhere else. These kids about to drive me up the wall. But when it comes to my mama, I have that peace. So, let's go back. Right after she died, I was in church. And I was praying. I said, God, I don't understand. I said I was fasting. I was praying. I was worshiping. I was praising you. I was delighting myself in you, God, for my mama's healing. And the Lord said, it wasn't for your mother. That was for you. So everything that I thought I was doing for my mom, it was for me. My mother was ready to go. She was ready to go. I truly believe that in my heart. Why you believe that in your heart? Listen, I'm going to tell you why. My mama died November the 11th. I don't know why I keep saying November 11th. She died November the 3rd at 11:03. Something came over me and said, stop. Now, don't get me wrong. Now, listen to this. I have searched my mom's information, my mother's information, all that years ago. But I didn't find out that my grandmother's birthday until after my mom passed. And I was seeking, something came over me and said, start looking at going through the ancestry and find out things you need to know about your grandmother. I've done that before, but never really got into her birthday. My grandmother's birthday was November the 3rd. My mama died November the 3rd at 11:03 on her mother's birthday. That's how I knew that she was ready to give up and she was ready to go. She gave up the ghost. She was tired. She wanted to go. Because on November the 2nd, she was doing good. She was just looking at me when I went into the room. But on 11:03, she gave up the ghost. Now, my mom had just got out of the hospital October the 24th. I didn't get everything I needed from the hospital, so she wound up getting a fever and having to go back in the hospital October the 30th of last year. And that's when she died, November the 3rd, after she had spent 121 days in the hospital. Very emotional for me. But when that time came for her to go to glory, God had done stepped in and did something wonderful for me. I say this to say, you have to learn how to trust God. You have to learn how to be still and know that He is God. You got to learn how to let the past go and heal. You got to learn how to look at your future going forth. Somebody asked me if I could change. It was either my niece or my son. One of them said, if I could change anything about my mom's dying and her situation, what would it be? And I said, to teach her how to eat better. To introduce her to a plant life base. Because what happened to me was, after seeing my mama deteriorate, I felt like something is not right. People dying, people getting sick, it got to be in the food. This is what I was saying. But I didn't know any better, you know. And then all of a sudden, my brother, the one that's 4 years younger than me, came to me and said, you know, he called me on the phone. He said, "Oh, Valencia, I want you to watch this TV show on Netflix called What the Health." He said, "Me and Monica, we plant-based now." And I said, okay. Let me check it out. I immediately checked it out because everything I had been praying for and everything God had been showing me. So I said, let me watch it. So I watched it. Immediately, I went plant-based. Cold turkey, I stopped eating meat. Now, listen to me. I'm not saying that I have this plant-based thing all together, all wrapped up like some people that I know and some people I see. I don't. But I don't eat meat anymore. But I do eat seafood. I still eat seafood. But I don't eat meat. If I ate a piece of meat, like, we know fish, we know seafood is meat, but you understand what I'm saying. If I ate it in the cow and in the beef and in the chicken nuggets or anything like that, my stomach would tear up like feel like I'm about to die. That's one of the reasons right there I never touch meat again, because I'm scared of the way it feels. We'll talk about that on another video. Then my 16-year-old introduced me to this app called Yuka, because I was already talking about it got to be in the food. So before he introduced me to Yuka, what he did was he went and scanned everything in the house. Toothpaste, deodorant, shampoo, whatever you use, he did it. Then he came in the kitchen and scanned everything in the kitchen. He sat me down and he said, "Mom, I want you to see this." He said, "This is not good for you." Yuka gives you 4 results on whatever you scan. It'll tell you if it's excellent, if it's good, if it's bad, if it's poor, then it will tell you the ingredients of what's in the stuff and what that ingredients is causing harm to your body. I was like, wow, look at this. Everything I've been praying for, it's coming. It's unfolding right in front of me. I said, okay, let me tell you this, Chance, because that's his name. I said, let me tell you, Chance. Now that I know this, I do better. Because when you know better, you do better. I said, but I don't have the money to go and just throw all this stuff away. So what we're going to do is we're going to finish this stuff. When we finish this stuff, then we'll start buying the new stuff that Yuka says is good for us. So that's what I do. Plant-based and Yuka. I would have introduced my mother to that to help her change her eating habits. Because that's what really hurt her. Things that she ate, things that she did, not taking her medicine like she was supposed to. That's what I would change about her. Another thing, one of the nieces of my son said, what was my fondest memory of my mom? And I told him, it was this. I'm going to tell you about this one. My mama had got down, this was 21. And she wound up going to St. Vincent's Hospital. When she went to St. Vincent's Hospital, St. Vincent's, she had a urinary tract infection. When you older and you have a urinary tract infection, it makes you speak out your mind and do things. And you have to know the type of person that my mom was. I don't really talk to mom. I'm talking to y'all in past tense, but I don't really talk about my mom in past tense. But you have to really know how my mother was. And she, was talking and she wasn't going to let them do nothing that she didn't want them to do to her. So they come to me, oh, your mom, she's denying everything. She's not doing this. She's not doing that. I think the best thing we need to do is make her comfortable. I said, what you mean, make her comfortable? You put her in hospice. I said, okay. I said, hospice is not an option for her. Not today, not never. She's not going to hospice. So at this time, the big dogs came to me. And they was like, oh, I thought your mother was going to hospice. I said, no, it's not an option. She's not going to hospice. I said, you hear my mom in there laughing and having a good time? I'll put her in hospice. She'll be gone tomorrow. I'm not doing that. Oh, was there something? I don't want to talk about that. She's not going to hospice. I go in there. I said, Mama, these people trying to put you on hospice. Oh, get me out of here. I said, we're going home. When we got ready to get down, get down to the car and everything, and I was trying to put in the car, I said, oh, Mama, you heavy. She said, just push me in the car. Like that, just push in there. I was like, okay. So I took my knee and I went under her thigh, and I took my thigh and I booted over there and booted in the car. And she went like this right here. That thing was so funny. Boy, we laughed so hard driving away from St. Vincent's. My mother was happy to be leaving there, and I was happy to be there to make sure that she was leaving there. So that was one of the most beautiful things that I could really say that me and my mom both laughed so hard about. I was getting out of there because she didn't want me. I wasn't going to let them put her. I don't care how bad my mama got. I had a nurse come to the house. I got rid of her. Because I'm going to tell you something. This right here, this is a powerful thing. But I know God and I know prayer. That nurse could have wrote anything on that paper that she wanted to. Oh, I feel like your mom. Wait a minute. Let me take that back. She did. I don't believe that Miss Hicks should be in home. She need to be in a facility and all this and all that. I don't want her back to my house. My mama not going in no facility. She struggled for this house where she at. She gonna continue to be in this house where she at. She gonna die in this house if she have to. She ain't going nowhere but here. So while you writing and everything, you write up a prescription for some people to come out here and serve her. Because y'all not going to do it nowhere else but where she live at. And I meant that. And I stuck by that. And that's why it was so important when she passed away that night. I felt good that I kept that promise to her. That she would not go into a nursing home and she would not go into hospice. And I'm thankful for that. I don't think that I left out anything. If I did, after watching the video and everything, if I did leave out some, I'll do a part 2. But so far, I think I covered everything. As I think about it, I'm still rejoicing. I'm still happy. I still have that peace and I still have that joy. And I wouldn't want it to go away. One of my nieces, or either my son, said, if you could encourage people, what would you tell them? Find peace. Find peace. Learn how to forgive. Learn how to forgive so you can heal the right and proper way. Read your word. Pray. Seek God like never before. Because He's the only one can help you throughout your times and your tribulations. And the same thing He did for me, the same thing He will do for you. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate you guys. And if, like I said, if I missed anything, I will come back with a part 2. Thank you so much. Good night.
Okay, and we'll let the rest of them go. That's your job.
Why don't we have this?
John, come right here for me.
Let her see it. Okay. So, good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to welcome the family and friends of Almonda Daniels Hicks. I'm Carolyn Perrone, along with my husband, Michael, and there are a few words I'd like to share with you all about the meaning of releasing white doves. There's a long history that goes back centuries when releasing white doves into the skies above. Our ceremony is a simple one, and at the center are these beautiful white doves. No other bird was uniquely created by God with a crystal in their brain used for navigation. In Christianity, they represent our Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. In honor and memory of Almonda, we are releasing 3 white doves, and in addition to that, we're releasing a flock of doves in her memory.
In the name of the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. Amen. Open it up. Open it up. Flip that up. Lift it up. Woo! They're trying to come back, eh?
They trying to go home.
But they'll go back to the beach. See them right there.
I missed them. Thank you so much. Shannon. Derek. Chance.
The person that held the first bird is the one that we batted in with it.
Okay.
So we'll continue to pray for you.
Yes, thank you.
It's so nice meeting you. I
Thank
hope you enjoyed it.
Yes, I did. I really did.
This is for you.
Okay, thank you. Yes, you can.
God bless you.
You got it. You got it. Well, you just
You're beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you.